Ramdeo Agarwal of Motilal Oswal joins in to talk about all of that. Ramdeo, good morning. We've been through a turbulent patch of sorts. How are you feeling about the market as it steps into earnings season? Oops, don't think we can hear Ramdeo. Just try to loop that audio connection with him in a second. But counting down for the market opening as we've been telling you. Ramdeo, apologies for that. I think we can hear you clearly now. You were talking about the market ahead of earnings season.
Yeah, so there's not much to be expected from the earnings, at least as far as our aggregates are concerned. It's going to be very muted like what happened in the last quarter, and it's going to be very flattish kind of situation. Of course, some of the defensive sectors will do well, and there are kind of capital intensive cyclicals which will not do well. In the aggregate, I think earnings will be flat. Slowdown at the top line is more like 5-6%. EBITDA is about 4-5%. PAT is flattish kind of thing. So I don't think there is much to expect from the earnings season. But there are always some winners and some losers. So there is not much firework from the earnings side. Interest rate is also kind of a very in a predictable territory of no change at this juncture. I think the real action is in the current account side. So that's a thing which is globally very concerning. So you have to keep your fingers crossed how you get treated in the short term.
Stay on, Ramdeo. Plenty more to talk about, but just a few seconds before we hit the market opening this morning, which has been indicating good things. Asia has actually rallied quite hard today. In fact, all those markets are up about 1.5% on an average, barring China. So it looks like we've got some good context going for the market. Let's see what our own opening is like. Lever is a stock that could be in focus because that looked quite strong in pre-opening today. Waiting by now for the rates to start trickling in, and more importantly, with the mid-caps too. 58.93 the opening gambit for the market, so more or less on the lines of what pre-opening suggested, which means it's a 1% rally for the frontline indices. 58 points, 60 points up now for the Nifty, getting very, very close to the 5900 mark for itself. Let's go through some of the key gainers and losers, and then we'll go back to the index. Lever is seeing quite a big surge after the open offer is out the system, so that stock is up about 4% in trade. It looks like this one is still holding out nicely. As I said, high beta may do okay in trade today, so JP Associates, Reliance, Infra, DLF, those kind of faces are up between 2.5 to 1.5%. There is some strength in that pocket. And then there's some heavyweight support for the Nifty in the likes of ITC, ONGC, SPI. Those kind of faces are not doing too badly at all. But the market has come off just a smidge, not quite killing that 5900 level yet. Even so, it's a start that's well in the green and up about 1% or so. On the losing side, some of these cement faces are dragging their feet. So Ultratech is in the red. Lupin is looking that bit soft, and IT seems to be coming off after yesterday's run. So Infosys and TCS are both softish in terms of their performance. 58.92 on the index now, so it's holding up 1%, but it's not tearing away after the opening we've had. Let's get a check on what the mid caps have done so far. Sonia.
It's good actually. The mid-cap opening is solid, up 1% in trade. The advanced decline ratio has opened up on a very good note, so that's good to see. In terms of individual stocks, your big star from yesterday continues into today. So First Source, after the 20% rally yesterday, has added another 6.5% in trade today, now above that 12 rupee mark. Remember, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has bought 5% stake in the company, and we did see that stock move quite a bit. Sugar stocks are up and about on hopes that the import duty on sugar will be hiked to 15% versus 10%. Remember, imports have been putting quite a bit of pressure on domestic prices, so all the sugar stocks are up on account of that, on the expectations of that. Apart from that, United Spirits, finally Diageo has completed the acquisition of that stake, so United Spirits is up about 1% or so, reacting to it. And a couple of other stocks in focus. BGR Energy, the offer for sale is today. The stock is actually inching closer to the OFS price, which is the floor price at which is at 118 rupees a share. So BGR Energy is down about 3.5%. Strides Arcolab, the board has okayed an increase in the FII limit to 74% from 49%. So there is an improvement that you're seeing in that stock. And Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers, it's been very volatile yesterday. So today the stock is up about 2.5%. Now we hear that Deepak Fertilizers may go ahead and directly approach Zuari Macquarie in order to buy out their 10% stake in the company. So that news is hotting up over there. That sums up the list of all the newsmakers. We have a bounce back that we're seeing in the entire real estate bunch. So HTIL, Unitech, India Bulls Real Estate are all up and about, and Hexaware, a stock that rallied yesterday as well, continues to inch ahead. So 2.5% rally is what you're seeing on Hexaware at this point. Just looking out for some more stocks in the news. Gammon India is up almost about 4% on reports that creditors have approved the company's debt recast plan. So 6% up move now on Gammon India. And like you were pointing out, Mitali, the big star is HUL really, and not only HUL but even ITC. The entire FMCG pack is doing quite well. We've been reading brokerage notes on how the MNC open offers successfully going through has sort of increased the interest in that particular pocket, but that seems to be the flavor of the day.
It is, Sonia. I just don't know how long it will follow through. You know, Lever and ITC aren't exactly the cheapest stocks in the block right now. As someone was pointing out earlier, business has taken a bit of a turn. Admittedly, they are still the safer bets to be in a market where things have been quite uncertain. But Lever at 620 is pretty expensive. So let's see where the stock goes from here. The rest of the market is doing fine. The sugar thing, I don't know how long it will last. I mean, when's the last time we mentioned a sugar stock except for Renuka, and that too because of its dollar issues, not anything else. So I wouldn't treat sugar with too much importance this morning. Maybe it's a sentimental reaction. Ramdev Agarwal, of course, has been speaking with us. Ramdev, what did you make of the kind of response that Lever got for its open offer? How would you approach some of these FMCG type faces now?
Yeah. So clearly HLL met with the expected response of 2/3 of the. I mean, it didn't get the full offer at 600 rupees. So, but what has happened is all the people who were thinking that stock should be is fairly priced at about 600, they have all surrendered. So there is nobody in the system right now who thinks that the stock price should be lower. And some people who must have shorted the stock thinking that the stock will open a little lower after the offer is closed, because the guys whose shares don't get accepted, they will come to sell it at lower price. I think that anticipation has gone wrong. So they must be all they must be covering their position, and that's why you are seeing the upsurge right now. And for quite some time, till the new developments happen in terms of quarterly results, some disappointments on one count or other is seen. I don't think the opinion will change in terms of valuation of HLL going anything below 600 at this juncture. So and that is driving the entire FMCG pack view on the FMCG pack, and that's I don't know. I mean, I've never bought into any stocks looking at this kind of scenario. So I would not take any decision based on if HLL is 620 is a good price. So what should be the price of Nestle or something else? That's not the way I've ever bought anything.
You've tracked a stock like Firstsource in the past, Ramdev. What did you make of the big move that we've seen on that particular name? The management has been quite confident of an improvement in the balance sheet going ahead, and we've seen influential investors pick up that stock as well. How would you treat it now?
Which stock is that?
Firstsource.
Firstsource.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Are you talking about Firstsource?
Yes, I am.
I don't know anything about it.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about Firstsource. I know one thing that CSE picked up the some major stake in that. There's change of management last year, but apart from that, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, that's fine. What about the range for the market going ahead then, Ramdev? What could be the floor and the ceiling for the market now that we've started off July on a good note?
See, there are 2-3 things which are happening. I mean, one of the things was, of course, on top of my head for last 3-4 months was this current account deficit. How seriously it will pan out, and things have turned out to be pretty nasty, and still the trouble is not over. But I think bulk of the problem is over. At about 60, we must see some kind of stabilization here. Now having seen the downside of 60. Now we have to see the upside of 60 in the sense that what good it can do to some of the sectors like pharmaceutical, tech, or some other automobile exporting companies, and what it does to the threat of competition from imports. So some of the companies which are facing massive competition from cheap imports, I think they'll get some sigh of relief and they'll be able to price it up, or at least they'll be able to hold on to the volumes and margins. So I think we'll see, not in this quarter so much, but I think in next quarter you'll definitely see some kind of action because of rupee devaluation, and you'll also see that the challenges to some of the companies which are leveraged in foreign currency, and I think their life will be very miserable. So I think one is struggling with that big development, and there is not much in the economy to really look forward to. Political situation is also quite messy. So I think I don't see anything which can take the markets to some kind of a big move immediately. But these foreigners are also not very gung-ho on India. So I would remain I would think that current levels is what one should be watching for quite some time.
That's the big swing factor actually, Ramdev. What liquidity decides to do. I mean, you were talking about the current account, but even the capital account now presents a bit of a crisis because of what's been happening with outflows and the currency. What do you hear in terms of these liquidity trends? I mean, did the market see the worst of it in the last week or so, or do you think this is going to be that slow drip poison kind of outflow for the market?
See, the bond sale which happened, I spoke to some of the currency dealers. I mean, they are saying that for the time being, whatever was to be done, that parcel of bonds have been sold. I mean, they're not seeing any more parcels immediately. So, but if say Indian rates come down and US rates shoot up or something like that, which nobody has any control, if the kind of equilibrium which is set in right now, if that breaks down, clearly there could be some more outflows, but right now they are not seeing any major disturbance out there.
Stay on, Ramdev. Plenty more to talk about. This morning the market is strong, but it's come off from the highs of the day, so it's bubbling around that 58.90 zone. Levers still quite strong, and infrastructure not doing too badly. Good market breadth as well. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Hi, welcome back to the show. It's a good opening for the market, as we told you. So just flirting with that 5900 mark on the Nifty. It's FMCG, which is the theme of the day. So HUL is at a new lifetime high. United Spirits is at a lifetime high after Diageo completed acquisition of that. And some comments coming in from brokerages. CLSA has upgraded Sobha Developers to a buy with a target price of 480 rupees a share. They delivered some really strong operational data yesterday for the first quarter, and average realizations have been at an all-time high for Sobha Developers. So CLSA has a huge upside to the current market price. Exide is also moving higher, up about 1.5% on the back of the price hike of 5% that they have undertaken with effect from today. Rima joins us now. She'll tell us about the small caps and how they're moving. Rima.
Good morning, Sonia. Lakshmi Overseas has started trade with a bit of softness. There is a board meeting scheduled today where they will be mulling preferential allotment to promoters. Kalindi Rail as well is currently trading in the red ahead of its board meeting. Today they will be considering fundraising via a preferential issue. On the gaining side, United Brewery Holding, that stock is higher by 8%. Very strong volumes. In fact, this entire week it's seen a 20% gain. Granules India has seen very large volumes. So on NSE itself, it's seen volumes of 9.5 lakh share plus. This compares with a whole day's turnover of just 1 lakh shares. So already it's seen close to about 10 times its usual volumes. Dishman Pharma is up in the green. Very recently there has been a change of guard over there. They've appointed Mark Griffith as the CEO, and Sugar, as you were pointing out, is active even in the small cap space. So something like Adhampur Sugar as well as Shakti Sugar is trading with some strength. With that, it's back to you.
Okay, Rima, thanks for that. The market as well is doing okay for itself. No complaints today. Excellent market breadth, 700 to about 200 advances to declines. Ramdev Agarwal has been speaking with us. Ramdev, the big disappointment in terms of its sales trend has been the autos. In fact, on Hero Honda, we hear that every month they're losing out in terms of Hero Moto, I beg your pardon. We hear that every month they're losing out on market share from Honda. How do you approach this auto space now?
See, as far as the two-wheelers are concerned, I think these 2-3 months are going to be dull months because of the monsoon, intense monsoon, and it has been every year. That's the kind of scene. In fact, some of the urban side where scooters are sold because of the school opening and all should be somewhat better. But I think this is month of July and August. I think by end of August you will start seeing again the pickup. So I think everybody is preparing for the big season in Diwali this time because monsoon is very good. So farmers have good volumes and good price. So I think you'll see the rural prosperity, and government will see to it that feel good factor in rural India is maintained. So I think it will be very interesting to see the two-wheeler pack in second half, and most of the managements are saying that it will do well. But as far as competition with Honda is concerned, I think it is in open, and it will continue. I don't think the life is going to be easy either for Honda or for Hero. I think both have to put up their best foot forward in next 2-3 years, and in a large market like this, which will grow. I mean, which has been growing at about 12% in the past, and I don't see why in next 5 to 7 years it will not grow at about 12% again. And once it starts growing at about 12% in next 5-6 years, there will be enough for both of them, or actually all of them, even Bajaj and TVS included. So, and then global markets will open up for them. So I don't think it is as simple as one makes out to be Hero versus Honda or something like that. But it is going to be a little more competitive than what it was. I mean, that was a 2 or 3 players. Right now it will become 1 more player. I mean, it's a large player. So I don't think one should write off anybody that easily.
What did you make of the gas price hike news, Ramdeo, in terms of whether you think it can still be incrementally positive for this space, and which one looks best poised to capitalize on the price hike that came through?
See, as far as the PSU side, actually the real price increase immediately has gone to ONGC, but I mean, ONGC has other complex situation in terms of how exactly the overall P&L will pan out, in the sense that what is going to be subsidy game by this government, because government seems to be very determined to keep the fiscal deficit at sub 5%. So all the rupee depreciated situation, the subsidy burden is increasing in the oil and gas again. So I think ONGC will be again, they look at ONGC's profits to take care of the subsidy. So I think there is no clarity even at the top management of ONGC that what will be the shape of their P&L even post hike of gas price, though it is the best thing they could ever get. Reliance is, I think, is again beneficiary, long term very big beneficiary, but in the short run they don't have volumes, so the benefit will be very limited till about 2015 or 16, and then when they will see ramp up. So clearly the future potential of Reliance would be very big on this particular issue.
Okay, the market, by the way, has briefly touched that 5900 level, so good going over there, and it's a combined effort from TCS, Reliance, ITC, and of course the biggest gainer of the day, HUL. Ramdeo, the PSU banks have seen quite a bit of a slippage since the start of the year. I mean, names like Bank of Baroda, PNB, etc. have lost 20-30% of their market cap since the start of 2013. Would you buy any of them now, or would you stay away?
No, already have in my portfolio enough of SBI, so I would not, I mean, I will not increase any more in my portfolio, but I think the guys who don't have, probably it is for them to gather courage and buy some of the better ones, at least to some extent in their portfolio, because credit cycle might be at the bottom of the curve, and as the credit losses, I mean, you cannot have as much losses as you had in last 2 years. In the first round of credit, when the business cycle reverses, you have the maximum credit losses, and when the business cycle starts looking upward, the credit losses will slowly start panning out, and actually you might see more recoveries than delinquencies. So I think that cycle is somewhere in next 6-8 months it is going to happen. So I think these are the darkest day for PSU banks, if they have any future at all. So at half book, 0.6 book, 0.7 book, so 5 to 6, 7%, 8% kind of yield. I don't think, I mean, if somebody is a contrarian, if there is one place where one can put a contrarian rate, it is here. So I would think that at fraction of their book value, this should be a good bet. But you need courage to see the further decline in the prices and still not get unnerved.
Okay, Ramdev, thanks so much for that. As they say, the darkest days are the ones before dawn. So hopefully we can see some respite in the PSU banking space. Thanks so much for joining us. That's the word coming in from Motilal Oswal. Good days for the market. So we'll take a break and come back and start talking to the corporates.